Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Wednesday. Today on our agenda, we're looking at quickly reviewing what our assignments are, making sure that we have already finished everything before we get to the actual writing of our essay. Some of us might be at different levels. Some of us might be ready to finish up our essay. Some of us might be done with our essays. Some of us might still be working on our escape plan. But just make sure that you get things done in order, right? So you pick your moment, then you create your character web, then after that you do your escape plan. After that you get your plot diagram completed, and then you are ready to start your essay. If you have not finished those 4 things before, then you are not ready to get started on the essay. So make sure that you get that done as soon as possible. Today's class is going to be a quick 15-minute video reviewing what we have to do, and then right after you're gonna have work time. So the expectation is for your name to be in the chat box, for you to stay on the call until the class is over, and for you to be working while we are in class, right? This doesn't mean it's break time or time to do something else. No, it's work time, because tomorrow we are going to, I expect you to have your essay completed. So I expect to have your essay submitted, and we're going to edit our essays, right? So if you don't have it done by tomorrow, then you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be behind, and you're not going to be prepared, right? So let's make sure that we stay on task and that we do everything we're supposed to do. So again, this is October 21st, 2020. Just very quickly, let's review what our prompt is asking us. Again, this is what tells us what our essay is going to be about, right? So your assignment is to write a narrative that is an exploded moment. The story should demonstrate how medieval society supports or limits your protagonist's identity. So then the first thing you have to do, and this is your step number 1, is to choose one of these 6 moments, right? So you're presented with a list of 6 moments that you are able to explode, right? So it's telling you choose one of these moments to explode with details to really show the conflict your character is facing. So in my case, I picked number 2, Tobias Berge's cousin Beth. Just as she learns, she'll be married off to a noble lord in a faraway castle. So exactly what you have to do is you have to pick one of these moments, and then you are going to explode. So that means you're going to add more details to the story, right? And in a way, you're going to make it your own. Like in my case, I picked number 2. I picked that Beth is finding out she's going to marry someone. And in my story, she is going to become a nun. So she won't have to marry anyone ever again, and she can continue studying, right? That's my version. Someone else that might be doing the same topic as me or the same moment might have a different story, right? And that's totally fine, as long as you stick to your moment. As long as you're telling me that Beth is going to be married to someone, you already have that check mark, right? You're talking about your moment, you're expanding your moment, you're exploding it. So again, step 1 is to select one of these 6 moments if you haven't yet. After you're done with that, I also included the criteria for success in the PowerPoint, so you can go back on your own and read what are the 10 things that your essay must include. So make sure that while you are writing your essay that you revisit your criteria for success and you're able to check off those items. If you have any questions throughout the day, make sure that you send me a message. I might not be able to respond right away, but I'll do my best to answer once I'm available. And also number 2 is asking you to consider your character's role in the medieval order. What problem might this cause in the moment? How might it impact his or her identity? Demonstrate your understanding through an exploded moment, right? So again, you need to make sure that you tell me in your story that where does your character land? Are they a peasant? Are they a noble? Are they a king? I need to make sure I know that information. So again, just go back to your criteria for success when you are working on your essay and make sure that you're checking off those items so you can have a good grade. So then I also went ahead and included my example of my character web. So right after you choose your moment, you're going to decide, okay, who's going to be my main character? In my case, my main character is Beth, right? Because I picked that second moment. So then I used words and phrases that describe her. And I have smart, shy, doesn't want to get married, daughter of a noble. So you get the idea, right? I'm describing my character, and that's what you have to do. Your character, it could be Beth, but it might not be Beth, right? So make sure that you're able to create that, that character web after you've selected your moment. Once you're done with your character web, you have to make sure you complete your escape plan. This escape plan is a form on the it's an assignment that is in your teams. It's called escape plan. This is kind of like the definitions or like the explanation behind the worksheet, but the worksheet looks something a little bit more like this. So again, the escape plan, it establishes, we have the E for establish, engage and orient your reader by establishing context and point of view. So you need to make sure that you tell me what your point of view is and who your narrator is. Then we have setting, when and where is your story taking place. Characters, who the story is about and what they want. Then we have action, what events happen and how characters experience these events. Then we have problem, parentheses, conflict, what prevents your main character from getting what they want. And then we have an ending or a resolution, and it's the resolution to the problem. Again, this is what the worksheet looks like. I included screenshots so you can have a reference, and you can be able to go through the slides on the self-paced pair deck, and you can go back and see, okay, what did Ms. Navarez put for this one, or how did she answer this? Just know that this is the exemplar, right? Your responses should not be exactly like mine, but they should be fairly similar, right? Okay, so again, I'm not going to take the time to read it. You can do that on your free time. Go ahead and reference back to these in case you feel like you're stuck and you don't know how to do the escape plan. I'm simply just asking you questions about your story. I cannot tell you a specific answer because your story is different from mine, right? I picked number 2, maybe you picked number 4, maybe you picked number 5. Maybe you did pick number 2, but your story is not going to go the same way that mine is. So you have to make sure that you really think about it as you're answering those questions. So who's going to tell my story? Who's going to be my narrator? What point of view is the story going to come from, right? Where is my story taking place? When is my story taking place? Make sure that you give me those specific settings. Who are my characters? Make sure you tell me who your characters are and what they're, and describe who they are, right? How do they belong in the story? Then you have your actions, right? You're going to tell me what events are happening in your story. Remember, it's important for you to tell me event 1, event 2, event 3. Why? Because you yourself, you're thinking about what's going to happen first and what's going to happen after that, and then what's going to be my final event, right? So again, this helps you build that skeleton or that idea of what your story is going to be about. Then we have number 5, which is your problem. You're going to tell me what is the conflict in your story. And then in the end, you're going to tell me how is the conflict resolved. So how did your conflict get resolved? How did the problem go away? What did the character do? What happened, right? So if you are able to answer these questions, you have a general idea of what your story is going to sound like. Then after that, you have to make sure that you complete your plot diagram. And again, it's your job to draw this diagram and to fill it in with the specific items, right? So again, I highlighted this for you so you can know kind of have an idea of what parts of my plot diagram are going to go in my essay. So if you see yellow, I have introduction. So these items should be included in your introduction. Your introduction should have your exposition, which is your background information about the protagonist and in their normal life, and you're going to present the conflict, something that is creating a problem for the protagonist. Then you're going to move on to your first body paragraph, the green one, right? And here you're going to give me all your rising actions, right? So what did that conflict create to cause those rising actions, and how is it leading to the climax? So you can decide if you only want to include your rising actions in body 1, or you can also include your climax. If you don't include your climax in body 1, make sure that it's included in body 2, and then that you follow by adding the falling action, right? And remember, the climax is the most exciting part of your story, the turning point. And then the falling actions are the events that happen right after the climax. Remember, those are the ones that usually things are falling into place and you're building towards the resolution. And then again, your conclusion paragraph should be your resolution. What happens in the end? Is there a happy ending? How did they solve the problem? Those are the kind of things that I want you to include. And again, I went ahead and added a screenshot of what I did so you can have us reference. And like this, now that I've created this, I know exactly what is going to go in my introduction, what my conflict is going to be, what those rising actions are going to be, what my climax is, what my falling action is, and what my resolution is, right? This is pretty much my skeleton to my essay. What do I have to do now? I need to fluff it up, right? So I add those descriptive details. I add that dialogue. I add those sensory details. Make sure that you are able to tell me what your character's seeing, what they're feeling, what they're touching, right? What they're tasting. All those things are going to make your essay more inviting. It's going to present me with that fluff, and I'm going to be like, oh yes, it sounds beautiful. I know exactly what they're saying, right? But make sure that if you don't complete the moment, then you already are off to a bad start, right? If you don't do the character web, you're not going to be able to describe your character well enough to expand on them. If you don't do the escape plan, you're not going to have an idea of what your story is going to be about. If you don't do the plot diagram, then you're not going to have that skeleton. And what is skipping all those steps going to result in? A weak essay, right? A failing essay. So make sure that you take the necessary steps to build up to that moment. So again, now it's going to be your time to write. You have to make sure that you've completed all these items, which is you've chosen your moment, that you have completed your character web, that you have completed your escape plan, and that you have completed your plot diagram. Once you're done with all those 4 things, you are ready to write. Right now you can get a piece of paper, and I 100% recommend for you to either type it up in a Word document that's going to auto save your work, or that you write it down in a piece of paper, because we are going to try to edit our essays. So if you have something that is physical, you can go back and highlight and erase and overwrite and things like that, right? It's going to be hard to do that in the form. So yes, please, please, please either write it down in a Word document or write it down by hand. And then whenever you're done and you feel satisfied and you've reviewed your criteria for success, then you can go back and finalize your draft and submit it, right? So remember, your essay must include an introduction where you're going to include your exposition and your conflict. Then you're going to have your body paragraph where you're going to have your rising action and possibly your climax, and your body paragraph number 2 where you're going to have either the continuation of your climax or the falling actions. And then your conclusion, which is your 4th paragraph, which should tell me the resolution of the story. And again, I put a screenshot of the criteria for success, so before you submit it or start typing it up, that you make sure that you've included all these items. The only one that I'll let you get away with is the one with about vocabulary, but again, you can use terms that are going to help you describe that it's taking place during the medieval times. And again, just quickly reviewing what the homework assignment is, or what the steps that you need to take before you get to the actual writing is: complete character web, complete escape plan, complete plot diagram, and then you're ready to complete your essay. So you write it down in a piece of paper in a Word document, and then you submit it to the assignment that is labeled End of Module Task 1 Essay. And I actually have this file opened up right here, so this is what it's going to look like for you. So actually it's going to look something a little bit more like this. So here it's telling you End of Module Task 1 Essay. Please tap your essay below. Make sure you include all the criteria for success. So here again, all I put, very simple, type your essay here. Make sure you have a paper copy in case your work is deleted. So again, you know, sometimes things get deleted. I don't want you to get started on your essay and then halfway it erases. So that's why I am telling you to either write it down somewhere else first and then copy and paste, or to write it down in a paper and then type it up whenever you're done. And again, I provided you with the criteria for success one more time, just so you can triple check that all your goals or all your criteria is met. Okay, and again, you're going to start here, and you're going to, whenever you're done, let's say you write a paragraph and you want to move on to another paragraph, all you have to do is hit enter twice, and then you can start again. And that's how I'm going to count the paragraphs. So again, make sure that you indent. An indent means that you leave space in between your paragraphs, and that you have those 4 complete paragraphs done by tonight. Okay, so tomorrow we will edit our essay, and then on Friday, hopefully we will all share. So please use the rest of the time to work on this. Make sure that you get things done. Make sure that you complete whatever stuff that you are behind on for the 4 tasks that you need to complete, and that you are ready to at least start your essay by the end of this class if you haven't completed everything else. And if you already checked that you turned in everything, then just make sure that you get started with your essay.